Welcome to Unit 2. In Unit 2, we're going to be talking about Egyptian civilization. Specifically, we're going to focus today on Egyptian geography, or where Egypt is and why it was there. Suppose you and your family travel to a state park for the weekend. How would you figure out where you want to put your tent? In this section, you're going to find out why the earliest Egyptians settled along the banks of the Nile River. Between 6000 BC and 5000 BC, hunters and gatherers moved into the Nile River Valley. They found the Nile green and fertile. They settled here, farmed the land, and built several villages. These people became the earliest Egyptians. Since Egypt gets very little rainfall, Egyptians had to rely on the Nile for water. They fished and bathed in the Nile. They used it for watering, for farming, cooking, and cleaning. You can see that the land around the Nile River is a desert, while the land surrounding the Nile is green and lush and easily farmed. The Nile flows north from the heart of Africa to the Mediterranean Sea about 4,000 miles. This makes it the world's longest river. Traveling the Nile would be like going from Florida to California and back. Two rivers meet to form the Nile. The Blue Nile in eastern Africa and the White Nile in Central Africa. Where these two rivers meet, the water forms rapids called cataracts. Large ships cannot sail through the cataracts, so they can travel the Nile only for its last 650 miles. In Egypt, the Nile runs through a narrow valley. Just before it reaches the Mediterranean Sea, it divides into different branches. These branches fan out over an area of rich soil. This fan is called a delta. Deserts lie on both sides of the Nile River. To the west is part of the Sahara. It is the largest desert in the world. To the east is the Eastern Desert. It stretches to the Red Sea. Because the deserts were so hot, the ancient Egyptians called them the Red Land. These areas could not support human life, but they kept outside armies away from Egypt. Geography helped protect Egypt in other ways. To the south, dangerous cataracts blocked enemy boats. In the north were the delta marshes. Unfortunately, the people of Mesopotamia did not have geographic barriers. Mesopotamians constantly fought off attackers, yet Egypt rarely faced these threats. As a result, Egyptian civilization grew and prospered. Natural barriers did not completely close Egypt to the outside world. The Mediterranean Sea was to the north. Beyond the desert, to the east, was the Red Sea. These helped link Egyptians to trade outside its borders. Natural barriers did not completely close Egypt to the outside world. The Mediterranean Sea was to the north, and of course the Red Sea was to the east. Within Egypt, people used the Nile for trade and transportation. Winds from the north pushed sailboats south. The flow of the Nile carried them north. This made Egypt different from Mesopotamia. There, city-states constantly fought each other. Egyptian villages, however, had friendly contact. That's all for the section on the geography of ancient Egypt. Next time, we'll talk more about how ancient Egyptians farmed and also about their writing system of hieroglyphics. Thank you very much.